Here we are. Thank you for joining us. My name's Jesse Cogdell, and I'm the European Entertainment Specialist for Vectorworks. Basically, that means that I used to do what you guys did. I spent 20 years working in the entertainment industry, doing lighting, rigging, and whatever else paid as a freelancer does. And today, I'd like to introduce you to what we're doing in 2025, which is the latest release of our software. We have a variety of new features. We have also some new changes to how we're delivering the software to announce and talk about. So here at Vectorworks, we try to give you guys the tools to enable you to do your jobs. So we want you to be able to design with complete freedom and be able to deliver experiences to your audiences, clients, and customers. So let's get started. So for 2025, we've made a fairly fundamental change to how we do our software development. We've decided to take more user feedback. So we've been actively gathering feedback for the last couple of years, and the vast majority of the entertainment-focused features this year are driven by the feedback we've gathered from you, our customers. In addition, we have the flagship feature for Spotlight is a new pre-visualization render mode directly inside of Vectorworks called Showcase. Vision is not going to go away. It will be around for another couple of years yet. Showcase is only in its first round of development. But as we move forwards, anything that goes into Showcase will be available in Vision as well. Most of the features this year are driven by your feedback, as I said earlier. But we have a mixture of what's called core features. These are software features that are available for everybody, no matter which one of our products you use. And then we also have entertainment-specific features. This year, we've got a mixture of ConnectCAD and Spotlight features for you. So we're going to split this up. We kind of do a slide of core features, a slide of entertainment. The first thing we've got for you on the core features is the new on-screen view control. As you can see, there's a little cube at the bottom of the screen, and this now tells you the view orientation. And you can do things like click and drag with it. You can turn it on and off so you get to control when it's visible or not. But it makes it very easy for you to navigate around your model space. So this should make your drafting a bit more intuitive and controllable. If you start using things like 3D working planes that you've rotated off the standard screen plane, the axis on the view control will reflect that change of view, so you've got your reference point. If you're doing any geolocate-related work, there's a compass ring that will show you the compass settings based on your view for the geolocate. And of course, if you don't want it there at all, you can just disable it and turn it off. Next, we have our flagship feature for Vectorworks for this year. Then this is Showcase. Showcase is live pre-visualization directly inside of Vectorworks. It's been implemented as a render mode. This means that you can not only do your previs, but you can take advantage of this for all your documentation and pre-production paperwork by leveraging it. It will take in a signal from SACN, ArtNet, or MA3Net, as long as you have a viz key. You can use a physical console, or you can use a virtual console like an on-PC solution, whatever works for you. Showcase depends on the camera settings. It has its own unique set of controls for the shaded rendering. Everything we've done over the last 3 or 4 years with the shaded rendering and improving our rendering technology has been building towards Showcase. So you have a unique set of Showcase controls that you can set and control. They will adapt in real time. You can use a DMX recording with it, or you can use a live console. And because it's built on as a standard rendering mode, we can do stuff like use walkthrough animations to do camera planning. But one key thing we've got in it is the ability for the first time to do video playback directly inside of Vectorworks. This is something that's completely new for us. So you can use an NDI stream, you can use a camera, a capture card, or you can use just a standard video file, whatever works for you. This is just looking at setting up a viewport, so you can render out your lighting looks. You can also do the walkthrough animation, as I mentioned earlier, which will render for you on the cloud if you don't have the capacity to do it on your own computer. Showcase will continue to evolve. This is just the first steps for us. We have a laundry list of features we want to implement with it, but we want your feedback as well. So if you have any ideas about what we can do to improve Showcase, please let us know. We're gathering the feedback either through our distributors or through the online forums or just chatting at events like this. Now, the next feature is a core level feature, and this is object visibility. The idea here is you can now set individual visibility controls per object in your design. And this is really useful for rapidly creating paperwork and documentation. So you can hide specific objects in one viewport, duplicate the viewport onto another sheet, and change the visibility settings. There is a special visibility control, so you can just click and turn stuff on and off. Anything that's hidden can be unhidden using the little context box that opens up at the side. But we also have this driven by the same criteria and database tools that the live data visualization uses. So you can combine this with live data visualization and do criteria-driven visibilities. So you can tell it to turn off all the lights on layer 1, for example, so you don't have them in the viewport. And this can be done both in your design layers and in your documentation. This should open up completely new avenues for you for creating efficient documentation and paperwork, for making it easier to decide what needs to be shown and what doesn't need to be shown. So let's move on to the next one. The next feature we have for you is GDTF file mapping. Who out of the audience here knows about the GDTF program? Okay, we've partnered with MA Lighting and Robe Lighting to try and develop a standard for the entertainment industry for data transfer. Our concept is that we want you to be able to take a file from Vectorworks or the MA3 console and send it anywhere else that you need to work without losing data, because traditionally we have to use things like DWG imports, and you lose data at each step of this process. So this is the next part of this process for us, as we've started to automate how we link lights to the GDTF definitions. So a GDTF is at the moment it's a lighting device personality, but it can be used in your CAD software, it can be used on a lighting console like the MA3, and it can be used to set up your previs. So the idea is we have all the information you need in one single location, and you can just go backwards and forwards with the file with your colleagues without losing data each time. So we've added a live link to the GDTF share inside of Vectorworks. We've also added an automated update command and extra export controls so that your file will always export with the most recent file definitions inside it. And as you work, you can update and tailor this based on what your needs are. The next core level feature is primarily something that architects and photography uses. It's called two-point perspective. And this helps improve the quality of your rendering. Sometimes depending on the view that you're using to create a viewport, vertical lines will not display as vertical, depending on the camera angle. And two-point perspective ensures that you always have the lines vertical. And this can be combined with all the other presentation and rendering tools inside of Vectorworks. So you get access to things like camera controls that can be used with it and other specialized features. So you can see here, this is a viewport which is the old style perspective, and just turning on the two-point perspective fixes the vertical lines very quickly and easily. It's such a simple concept, but it provides such a powerful tool for documentation. Now, the next feature for entertainment, as I said, we've been gathering a lot of feedback from UI users, and although our truss snapping and drawing tools and the lighting insertion tools work, there's been a couple of places that you've identified that these don't work the way you want them to. So we've made some changes. The first is we've added automatic numbering into just about every part of the software now. So all the insertion tools have a new automatic numbering. Next, we have a new preview mode that allows you to see exactly what you're drawing as you draw it. And finally, one of the biggest pain points previously was getting the corners to align correctly when you're drawing complex 3D structures with truss. We now have a shortcut key that allows you to rotate the insertion point on the corner and very easily change that. You can, trusses and lights will now do truss cord snapping. So you can control exactly where your light lands on the truss or the pipe. There's a distributed insertion mode for the lighting device tool, so you can insert multiple fixtures with a single mouse click. And there's a new rotational mode that allows you to easily side hang and overhang fixtures on trusses. All of this should make your drawing process for complex 3D structures far easier. The next is schematic views. Now, this is a tool to help you document and display complex rotated structures in 3D in a way that you can understand for your site crew. And we implemented it about 5 years ago, and we've been gathering feedback on it ever since. So this development pass, we've concentrated on speed. It generates in seconds now. We've also been looking at making sure that you can create it whenever you want in the design process. So you can set your stuff up, then create it. And it also supports a two-directional workflow, so you can actually use this as part of your design process to add lights to your 3D objects. You add the light or other object to the schematic view, and it will be created on the parent 3D object that the schematic view is created from. So this creates a bi-directional workflow, and will hopefully provide you more tools for working in a hybrid 2D, 3D environment. Next, we have a cloud services offering. To help you collaborate with your colleagues, we've expanded the documentation on the cloud services and added a large variety of options for annotating, putting comments in, highlighting areas that you want your colleagues to change or work with. So you can now share sets of drawings with people with cloud services. The people you're sharing with do not require any sort of Vectorworks application. They just use the link and log in. Any comments they show will show up in a palette for you, so you can see the comments, react to them, and upload a new version or correct the paperwork as needed. You'll get notified when the comments are satisfied, they're resolved. And this should make it much easier for you to work as a team in a digital environment. So for example, if you've got a gig going on, a large-scale corporate event with, say, 1,500 fixtures, as your team goes through stuff, you can start marking off on the sheets that you've installed this, you've fixed that. Oh, we couldn't get this light into the correct location, so you make a note that this has to be updated for whoever's doing the CAD planning. So it will make it far easier to communicate at every part of the production process, from the initial concepting right through to being on site. As part of supporting Showcase, and due to your feedback, we've re-examined how we focus lighting fixtures in Vectorworks. We've started to reveal the focusing controls directly in the object properties. So you've now got sliders for pan and tilt that are linked to the percentage pan and tilt values, and for conventional profiles, you can access the shutter controls. Moving forwards, we will add more of the parameters here. We just need to continue working this in a step-by-step process. And this can be done either for a single fixture or groups of fixtures. So you can group select all the lights on the front truss, for example, and set the pan and tilt, and then cycle through them to fine-tune where they're actually focused. Next is power schematics. We have completely reworked how we're doing the power planning in Vectorworks. The old web palette wasn't working how we wanted. So instead, we've leveraged some of the ConnectCAD technology from our systems integration solution. Now it's a command-driven process. And what happens is you draw your lighting rig as you would normally, add a power supply, and then you can create a power schematic by command, and it will create a schematic view of your power layout, including the phase calculations. You make edits here, it will update your design layer. You can extract the information from the schematic devices, and you can use things like live data visualization with it. So this all makes it very easy to document and provide the paperwork you have to provide to your venues or whatever else to check that your power supply is correct. As part of this, we're also providing a set of template worksheets so you can see the formulas and scripting that's needed inside the worksheet to get this data out of Vectorworks. This is, again, a first step. We will be continuing to evolve this. I believe we have 3 or 4 more tasks based on improvements that we want to add to this. And again, we would like your feedback. If there's stuff that you don't like about this, please tell us why you don't like it. As long as we understand what you need and how you want it, then we will do our best to try and update the features to support your work. We've also, at the same time, been working on the cable tools. There was a lot of parts of the cable tools that worked, but other parts weren't as fast or efficient or didn't do what was needed. So at the most simple level, the dialogues now stay open whenever you make changes. You can reshape the cables and have them correctly connect to stuff. This video is a little fast, I'm afraid. But another new feature for the cable tools is we can do cable breaks. So you can set up your cable trusses and have the cable docks either at the top or the bottom, define how much slack is at each location on each side of the break. And this can now all support group editing. So if you go into the cable configuration dialog, you have this new layout where you see all the cables you've selected on one side, the sections of those cables, if there's breaks in them, you can move the parts across, change the configuration, and if you change over to the section side, you can configure the cable docks for every individual cable that you currently have selected in the dialog. And this will, of course, all be reportable with worksheets, so you can very easily then create construction lists or material lists for the site crew or for the shop to prepare the materials in advance. We've also had some changes to the bridle tool with this release. The first change is we've added more options for data tags to make it easier to use. We've also combined all the bridle-related settings into a single preferences dialog that's accessible directly in the bridle tool. This means you no longer need to leave your drawing area to change bridle settings while you're drawing. It should make it much more efficient as you're working. And with the new bridle data tag options, you can label the upper legs, lower legs, a hoist that's attached to the bridle, and the bridle itself with separate bits of information based on what your requirements are. The complete event and AV planning tools have all been updated to the latest versions from our third-party developer that takes care of these. There's new data records and options added to them. They've all got widgets, so you can collapse and expand the parameters to make them easier to work with. And there's a few new small enhancements. But this ensures that everybody now has the same set of tools. Now we're moving on to the ConnectCAD section. So the first thing for ConnectCAD is we have a label printing application. This will work with label printers for cables, for equipment items. It's all data record based. So you can use this both for ConnectCAD and for Spotlight if you have the ConnectCAD plugin. It's going to be a real time saver for a lot of areas, and you can include things like barcodes and QR codes on the labels that you create. So you could create labels for a rack mount, so each position in the rack mount has its own QR code to, say, link to a manual. Or if you're on the live side of the industry, you could create labels for your dimmer racks, or your plug boxes, or your lights, detailing things like patch information and so on. We also have a new way of error checking your ConnectCAD schematics. We have a special palette that will check the schematic as you draw. This is the first time we've done live error checking in Vectorworks, and will lead to other features doing a similar workflow in the future. But as you draw, the errors will get highlighted. You'll see them in the palette. And as you correct those errors, you can tick them off the list so you get an overview of your progress. This will be very useful when it's combined with the project tracking features, where you import the changes from the site crew of how the installation went and have to update your paperwork to deliver the as-built documentation at the end of a project. Another key part of ConnectCAD is because it's designed for planning and installing integrated systems. You have to be able to collaborate with architects and the AEC industry. So we've added functionality to reduce the steps in that workflow. So if you're working with an architect that has set up spaces, IFC spaces, these will now be recognized as ConnectCAD rooms when the file gets imported. So you can very easily start laying the equipment out in the architectural model and know exactly where it's going to go, and the architect will be able to see where it's going based on his specifications. And this is really useful for things like home cinema installations or building control systems if you're working in that area, or even with TV studio planning so you know exactly where everything's going to be. ConnectCAD has also built on the cloud services report share functionality. So we've now got, this was first introduced with 2024, I believe. And we've added more options and control functions so that you can customize the paperwork you have available to you on site. So once the designer uploads the paperwork, you can sit there and say, oh, I need this information for this section of the install. You open your handy, click on the link, and you can get exactly what you need in front of you. You can then annotate it and send it back. So if you've had to change a plug port or a patch plan, you can send that data back to the designer so he knows he has to update the schematic. And this will combine with the other cloud services presentation and documentation review features to provide a much more intuitive way to work. Now, before we get on to the Update 2 features, we have an example of a short video that's been created using Showcase. The music for this comes from one of our colleagues at the US office, who's a music producer and songwriter. It's about 3-4 minutes long. I hope you enjoy it.
Normally I wouldn't get down like this. You know I never write a song unless I know it's gonna stick. But you do anything that I want you to. You do anything that I say to do. And you're putting it down. What you're trying to get. You want it back, baby. A love song, love song, love song. You want it back, baby. A love song, love song, love song, love song, baby. You want it back till the break of dawn. I got what you need, baby. Come on, I'll be the wings on your back, 'cause I get to see you fall.
So we still have a couple more slides to go. And this is going to be discussing what we've done with Update 2 this year. Now, We're starting to change how we're delivering updates as a result of moving to subscription. We're trying to improve our responsiveness to bug reports, but we're also trying to deliver small improvements and incremental updates and quality of life features in our updates now. It won't happen every update, but in addition to libraries, there will be new features. And Update 2 is the first time we're doing this. So on the core side for Update 2, the AI visualizer has received some improvements. This was released with Update 4 last year. And primarily, this is used to image edit. So you can use it for creating things like textures for your rendering, so you don't have to use what is in our library. Or if you're rapidly concepting a design for a client, you can go, oh, I want to have a different colored background here, or I want to have a different texture there. So to make this an easier process, you can now recall the AI prompts that are used to create the image. So you can take older images and reuse them in new projects. We've made it able to create seamless tiling for textures to improve the quality of the textures it will create for you. Possibly the most powerful is, you see here, Create Alpha Channel. This is a way of creating a transparency into your texture. So you can start creating things like image props. So you could have take a picture of an audience, tell the AI visualizer to edit out everything but the crowd, and then you can drop that into your rendering so you've got a backdrop of an audience for an important image. There will be further improvements, but this is just the next step that we've made. On the entertainment side, GDTF file mapping has had some work done on its dialogues. So you now get summaries of what has been downloaded by the automated commands, so you know exactly which fixtures have been updated and which haven't. There's progress bars, so you can see when it's processing in the background. And we've improved how the GDTF mapping works with the fixtures. So if you've already downloaded a fixture and it has that GDTF in the background and insert more of that fixture type into your file, those fixtures will automatically link to the existing GDTF definition that you've downloaded. We've been looking at the DMX patch interface to improve it. One of the issues we've had previously with the DMX patch interface was non-DMXable objects were showing up in the patch, things like your hook clamps and other accessories for lights. We've managed to find a way to remove these, so the patch will be easier to read and more efficient. Snapping and the features for the truss snapping have been extended to the older parametric truss object and curved truss object for when you're design concepting. So this will be very useful for the early stage of the design before you know exactly what sort of truss you're using. And this is to provide consistency throughout our product. We've improved several areas in how we get the data into Showcase from the regular Spotlight model. How we handle gobos has been improved. There's more conventional fixture options supported by Showcase now. And every release we do, Showcase is going to get more functionality added to it. As we find out what the previous functionality is stable and works and does what you want, we'll then add in the next step as we go along. So I hope this gives you a taste of what's coming up. The new version of Vectorworks will launch here, I believe, in about 2 weeks' time for the Spanish version. The Update 2 for the English version is released internationally. It comes out, I believe, here again in 2 weeks' time. If you have any questions or would like to know more, you can either come and talk to me just now, or you can visit our website, vectorworks.net, or the Vectorworks University, which is our free e-learning portal, where you can go in and have a look at pretty much everything we do, and there's free courses there. There is a little bit of paid content like certification courses, but everything else on the portal is free. You just need to create an account to track your progress, so you can drop in and out as you need. So I hope that's been of use to you today, and I hope you're interested in what's coming up. If you have any feedback or just want to discuss what we do, or anything else for that matter, don't feel shy. Okay, and that brings us to the end for today.